Good morning. It looks like, if you can see behind me, the early sunrises are gone. It's dark in the early morning nowadays, and tells me it's not going to be long before the winter sweeps in on us, which is all good because you can pummel somebody with a snowball during those times. Have you read Ephesians lately? What a cool book in the Bible. What a bunch of great promises of the gifts we've received from God. And I was reading that this morning in Ephesians 2:6. Well, you can start in verse 4. It says, "But God, being rich in mercy because of his great love with which he loved us, his great love with which he loved us, even when we were dead in our transgressions, made us alive together with Christ. By grace you have been saved, and raised up with him, and seated us with him in the heavenly places in Christ Jesus." Like, you could have been seated right there in that chair here, but he seated you in the heavenlies. And so then, as we go through a kind of a tumultuous season in our country where people want to disagree with one another and find division points rather than unity points, then there is the possibility that maybe the things that are working aren't what you think are working against you. And so then you flip a couple chapters over to chapter 6 in Ephesians, and it says, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the powers, against the world forces of this darkness, against the spiritual forces of wickedness in the heavenly places." And one of those heavenly places where we're currently seated. And so that tells me that there's going to be all kinds of power forces coming against us between our ears, and thoughts that maybe aren't true, and frustrations that aren't so. And so what I would encourage you, if you feel like those powers are coming against you, is to set your mind, set your hope, set your desires on Jesus. Focus those thoughts there. And then he says, put on the full armor of Christ, which is a whole list of guardians that he's put there for us. And so if you get a chance, read some Ephesians. I think it'll encourage your soul. But when you read it, also pay attention to the tenses of the verb. There's a lot that he's already given us, and maybe you can take hold of those things today and have a spectacular day. See ya.